Welcome back to Chapter 1. This is the podcast where we talk about media, specifically film, books, and music, and how we react to it in regards to life and human connection. Today, I'm joined by someone really special because we're talking about Sleep Token. This is my friend. Say hi, friend.
Hi, friend.
And I wanted to bring her on here because we connected deeply over this band, and she is extremely knowledgeable about music and literally cringing as I'm saying this. So I just appreciate her perspective, and she was the one to introduce me to Sleep Token. So it's just overall special.
I'm gonna cry.
You can cry if you want to. But I want to talk about how we were introduced to Sleep Token, because for me it was through you, and then for you I think it was through some social media post.
Yeah, for me it was literally through TikTok. There, like the end of the summoning was being used.
Yes.
Over and over and over and over again, all over TikTok. And I could not avoid it. And then I finally was like, okay, fine, I'll listen to it. And I listened to it and like immediately fell in love and was just, that was it. That was the end.
What's so interesting about that too is the summoning. The end of it is like, and we'll get into like the breakdown of their tracks and how they compose them, but the end of it is so different than the rest of the song.
Yeah.
Which is half the appeal for me too. But I love that. I love the idea of TikTok being the catalyst for introducing you to them, and then to like look back at the evolution of your reaction to them and my reaction and my relationship to them. It's just interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. I like don't often find bands through TikTok or social media just because they get like very overused, and then I can't escape the sound, and then like the way my brain works, like the sounds get annoying before I even like have a chance to really listen to the full thing. But they've really like, that experience has like opened me up to other bands that I've come across, which is really cool.
I love that. Social media is so good for connection, I think.
Yeah, it really can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I guess we can go over, I love the idea of going over our favorite tracks together and just like sitting down and comparing them. We can go through the entire track list if you want to. But for clarity, for my own brain too, is there a difference when a musician talks about a track versus a song? Is there a difference, or are those okay?
People use those interchangeably. Same as like record and album are often used interchangeably. Yeah. Okay, cool. I've been thinking about that this whole time I've been recording episodes, and I'm like, am I using this word right? Oh yeah, no, you're good. There are no rules.
No, truly. So should we choose 3 songs that we really relate to?
Yeah.
Or do you want to go just like one?
My God, that's going to be so hard.
It's so hard. Okay, we'll do 3 because one just seems impossible.
I can't do one for sure. Can't not do one.
No. First one for me, and I think is my number 1 still, is Rain. The way that this band chooses to layer sounds and use even Vessel's voice as almost like an instrument is so interesting to me. First of all, I'm gonna backtrack here and say that Sleep Token is an anonymous band. Their lead singer, and I think he composes a lot of the music, right?
Yeah, I think it's mostly him and the drummer who do all the compositions and arrangements and stuff and write the songs. Okay.
But because they're anonymous, they have aliases, and the lead singer's alias is Vessel. So if you hear me say Vessel, if you hear my friend say Vessel, that's who we're referring to. Seems so intelligent and just knowledgeable, but the way that they utilize his voice as almost an additional instrument in Rain specifically just does something for my brain.
Yeah.
And I can elaborate on that, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they do that in a lot of their songs where like they really use layering in a really profound way. It's really cool. I'll say really so many times.
That's okay. No, do whatever you need to.
Do you want to go song for song?
Yeah, go ahead.
For a long time, my favorite song that I was like listening to over and over again was Aqua Regia. There's something about it that is like so out of left field on this album. And it's so like soft and just there's like a jazzy element to it, especially on the bridge.
Yeah.
With the piano. That really got me. And it's just like it's so different and so light compared to a lot of the other songs on this album.
And that's the thing about Sleep Token is they are hard to define when it comes to a genre.
Yeah, they really bend all of the rules of genre. It's amazing.
I love the idea of it sitting in this gray area. Like if I had to pinpoint a genre, for me it would be metal.
Yeah.
So if you like metal, check them out.
Yeah, like
but if you
metal or something like that.
Yeah. But they really bring in elements from a lot of different genres. I think the only genre I can think of that they don't use is like country.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say like reggae, but even like some of the new stuff that they just released, I'm like, no, it relates to that too.
They really do like genre. There is no such thing as genre with this band, which I think is so magical. It's so fun. They really just like feel whatever they feel and write whatever they want to write.
It's inspiring. Very cool. Okay, my next song that I'd have to choose is Euclid. And I love that they close the album with this because it is, to me, it's so tender.
Yeah.
And they bring in a lot of different techniques, I guess, or ways that they create the music. Just the way that they mess with his voice and how that plays into my reaction to it. It just feels different than the rest of the tracks for me.
It feels also like mood-wise really hopeful. I feel like a lot of this album is really heavy in terms of tone and subject matter. And Euclid feels like closure and like hopeful. It's like even with like the chord progressions and stuff, it's like so much more positive sounding.
Yeah, okay.
And like uplifting than a lot of the rest of the album.
When it comes to chord progressions, I guess some of them do sound like certain emotions. I've never really thought about that before. But if you use certain chords together,
yeah,
you can evoke certain emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you'll find that like a lot of sad songs are in minor keys and use minor chord progressions, and they sound darker and like really do evoke a feeling of like sadness. And then like if you listen to most pop, it's like all in like major keys, and it's all like very upbeat and uplifting and happy sounding.
Yes. You must be forced to be happy.
Yeah. There's a word for that where when people marry lyricism to the like feeling that the chords that they're using evoke, and I can't remember what it is. So I don't know why I'm saying that.
No, I love it. I love it. I love that you said that. I love when like strange things like that have a specific word to them. I think that's fun. Your next song?
Oh my gosh, my next song. Well, Euclid is definitely one of them. The whole song is just like so magical, and how he says like the first lyric is run it back, give me 5 whole minutes, and then from that point the rest of the song is exactly 5 minutes.
Shut up! Are you serious?
It's so crazy.
I've never ever realized that. Thank God you're here.
Someone on TikTok pointed that out. That was not me.
But wow.
But yeah, it's just insane. It's so smart so like so thorough. There's not like a single accidental thing in any of this music, which I think is really beautiful. But I think, oh my God, it's so hard to pick. I love all of these songs for so many different reasons.
Yeah, truly. I mean, if you're gonna listen to this album, I'm not even gonna recommend you choose just one song.
You have to just listen to the whole thing.
The whole entire thing.
I think Ascensionism is a big one for me. Lyrically particularly, but also the fact that it just like goes through like 7 different genres throughout it is so rad. And it like starts really soft, and then it goes through this like hip hop beat moment,
I know.
and then it like slams into metal and like a really heavy chorus, and then it goes back, and like it just, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about, and I think this is true for a lot of their songs for me, like there's something that makes it feel like transcendent in my body. Like I feel like my whole soul is like, it sounds so weird.
No.
It feels like my whole soul is like expanding
Yeah.
when I listen to these songs, and then when they drop, it just feels like an explosion of my soul.
Like dropping a plate.
Yeah.
Or something glass.
Yeah.
I love that.
Or like a light bulb bursting.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just overloaded.
And I think Ascensionism in particular, because that huge drop toward the end, and then he's like screaming, "You made me wish I could disappear," really, really, really hits home.
Yeah. Such a good song. Oh
So
my
good.
god. So the last one I think I'm gonna choose, because it resonates with me lyrically, is Granite.
I love Granite.
I can't stop thinking about it these days.
I think that's my like most played song from
Yeah.
last year.
yeah, that I get that. It feels like a journey and something that's relevant to things that I've experienced in my life, and I connect it with like connections that I've had with other human beings and how deeply I've felt them, and how that just kind of can disappear one day entirely.
Yeah.
Fair warning, this album is not a happy-go-lucky
No, it's
album.
very heavy.
It is extremely tender, and we can get into that a little bit later after we're done going over songs. But yeah, Granite, there's something about it that I can't stop listening to it now. And when I first started listening to Sleep Token, there were certain songs that I did not like, and there were certain songs that I really liked. And now, like, as I'm going through life and through these other experiences that I've been through, the evolution is just like it's shifting for me. Like each song kind of pulls something different out for me depending on the day and the way that I'm feeling, which is fun.
I think that's so cool. That's one of my favorite things about music, is that like, and art in general, but specifically music, is that you can listen over and over again. You can always find something new, and you connect with it differently depending on where you're at in life and what you're experiencing, what you're going through. It really is like magic. It's so cool.
I was just thinking of the word magic. Wow, get out of my brain.
No.
But yeah, I think that I'll label a piece of media as like something that I really like if that logic can be applied to it. Like if I can pick it up at any point in my life and just relate to it in a different way, which feels like most media can be applied to that. But some of it, I have found some of them just being like, I've loved something at some point, and then something shifts in me, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
what's your last song? I know, dude. This is torture.
Oh, Granite has one of my favorite drum grooves of their entire discography.
Really?
It's
Do you
so
want to
good.
elaborate on that, or
No.
okay, you don't have to.
I don't know what it is about it. There's just like something about the feel and like the space, the way that the drummer uses space in his drumming is just so sick, and it hits so hard in that song. I don't necessarily relate to this song currently, but for a long time after I listened to this album, this song was like a heavy repeat for me. And that's Do You Wish That You Loved Me?
Oh my god.
And I saw somewhere, and I don't know if this is true because everybody got theories, but I saw somewhere that song is him like looking in the mirror and writing that to himself, which really hit home for me when I was listening to it last year for the first time. And there's something so tender about it and so wishful. Yeah, it breaks my heart every time I hear it. But it also has this like really funky, fun like synth going on throughout the whole thing. And there's a lot of space in that one, which I really like. Yeah, that one's a top contender for me for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely in my mind while I was listening to these, because it almost feels like a breath of fresh air as you're going through this album. Like
It really is like a pause,
Especially
after the apparition.
I was just thinking
Mad heavy drop, and then
then it goes right into like a up. It feels upbeat.
Yeah,
the music does, but
yeah, the synth is like so like happy
light.
sounding and like light and airy,
Mm-hmm.
and then the lyrics are like just heartbreaking.
Yeah, if that theory is true, God Lord, this person has been through some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could keep listing all of the songs on this album and then the rest of their discography, but
Right. Yeah, we're focusing on their album Take Me Back to Eden, which was released in 2023, I think.
Yes.
And was how many albums have they released now?
3 full albums, a couple of EPs, handful of singles, and then they've got the upcoming Even in Arcadia, which is out next month.
May 9th, which the promotion of that album has just been wild.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah, the fan base has come up with so many theories around each of these albums, which I think is really cool. Lots of like Greek mythology woven in.
There's so much lore around this band because they're totally anonymous and like no one knows who they are or shouldn't know who they are.
Yeah.
And they don't really do like interviews where they talk about their songs or anything like that. So it's all just like, what's the word? Nope, I don't have it.
Yeah, it's okay. It kind of feels like it is just left up to the world to interpret in their own way, which feels like the definition of art to me. Like this is how we're meant to relate to it.
Yeah. That's how we're meant to perceive art.
Yeah, exactly. Which is so fun to think about a band intentionally being like, okay, we're just gonna release this and let the people who like it figure it out on their own. And it would be fun to see that evolution too. But I also wonder, like, as a creative, there is part of me, the ego part of me, that's like, you need to know the story behind what I create.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if the band has some of that. Probably not, but you know.
Yeah, I wonder that too. I also wonder if they're just like so happy to let everybody come up with their own theories and their own ideas. And some people really dive so deep into it.
Deep, yeah.
It's wild to see, and it's really fun that they're like we probably will never know exactly what these songs are about and exactly what these albums mean, and there's something really beautiful about that.
Yeah, I do love it. I know in the beginning when I first started listening to Take Me Back to Eden, I was very much like, this is about grief or a breakup or both. What were your thoughts on like the first listen through? And
I think I had similar feelings about it, just based on a lot of the lyricism, and especially like, "Are You Really Okay?" feels like one of the most direct, lyrically speaking. Yeah, but I still don't. I don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I'm not pressing you to have the answers, please. I love just theorizing about it, though.
Yeah.
It's fun to explore because, especially with another person, because you never know the things that you don't know.
Right.
You never know them.
Yeah.
So it's fun to bring up, but
yeah, and like it's fun to see what it brings up in you and like what it kind of triggers in your brain. I think that's a really fun aspect of art like this.
Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about is the idea of, and this is pulled from a book about sound healing that I read a while ago, but there's this concept that when we record something, the emotion that we're expressing as we're recording it is recorded into the actual song.
Like the sound waves.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And so, and it makes sense to
Absolutely.
me with Sleep Token because it's just, it's sorrow is like the only way that I can describe some of this music. And I do catch myself being like, okay, time to put this down because I can get in too deep. But it's also so refreshing to have music or media kind of provoke that out of me at least. I think it's probably pretty simple for most people to be moved by media, specifically music. Like, I think we all connect on music. I've met people who don't listen to music, and
Me too. It's always so shocking to me.
Yeah. I'm like, not even one song?
Yeah, like music is so vast. And there are so many different kinds and so many different approaches to music that I mean, I've been a musician for most of my life and like studied music for a really long time. So for me, it's very much ingrained into my being. I can't imagine not liking it or like not listening to music.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is like if that person had been through something pretty heavy and they're just like, I can't even be put into a position to feel emotions.
Or I guess like if you don't grow up around it, then like you don't really know if you like it or you don't care about it.
Right.
And I guess there are people in the world who don't like art.
That is so, I'm sounding so judgmental right now.
We're so neurodivergent. We like need art.
Truly. It's such a thing.
I feel like every single one of their albums is an experience in and of itself. And it's really, really fun to listen to their entire discography back to back. Because it really does feel like a journey, which sounds so corny, but it really does feel like so much of it feels cinematic and like you're like dipping yourself into a pool of living art. I love this band so much.
I know. They're incredible and different, and the fact that they've become so big.
Yeah.
And they're like the idea that an anonymous band who I view as very theatrical.
Oh, there's like their stage presence is super theatrical. Their costumes are amazing. Or outfits. Masks.
Ritual garb.
Yeah. I love that too. I love Ghost does that too, where like they call their concerts rituals and they like worship and stuff. And I think there's something so beautiful. It's like a little culty.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, we were talking about that the other day.
It's like super culty.
Yeah.
But it's harmless so far.
No one's getting hurt. No one's getting sacrificed yet.
But I think that's a really fun spin on a concert. Because music really does have that feeling sometimes where it really like you're connecting with millions of people worldwide in this through this one specific avenue and this one specific group of people, which is just crazy that is even possible.
I know. I can't even imagine. I would be such a butthead. I'd be like, yeah, I'm bringing all like these thousands of people together to celebrate this thing that I created.
Yeah. Oh, it's bonkers.
It is wild, but I do really appreciate the concept of them remaining anonymous, and that feels like a pull away from being egoic about it at all.
Also, to be at the level that they're at, I mean, they just sold out their entire U.S. arena tour in like less than a week, which is insane. That's like Taylor Swift, Harry Styles level fame. To have them be at that level and have the majority of their fans still respect their anonymity is amazing.
Yeah.
In and of itself. Like that is bananas.
And it feels good to be part of a community like that too.
Yeah.
You know, the community feels like it has a few people that, you know, overstretch the rules and do what they are doing.
Cross boundaries.
Exactly. But the majority does feel like it wants to honor their wishes.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine being an artist like that and knowing that your community backs you like that. That, it does feel like magic.
Yeah,
for sure. Any other tidbits you want to share about Sleep Token?
I'm really, really excited for the new album.
Me too. if you check out all of their albums, it is kind of like what my friend said, a journey. And Take Me Back to Eden does feel like a wake-up call to me. So I'm excited to see their new... It almost feels like their new album might be really light and joyful, which for a metal band feels contradictory if we're looking at metal from a societal perspective. So I'm excited to see how they express that and what happens.
I feel like I'm always surprised with like each new album, each new thing. It's always a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah. And they have, as a note, they've released 2 songs from their album that's coming out in May. And they do feel like Sleep Token, but like the next step in Sleep Token. And I love when artists do that. They kind of nod to the previous versions of themselves, but they also evolve. Yeah,
they're really good at like connecting to previous albums too. I could keep talking about them forever.
Yeah, no, we can. I mean, you've mentioned that to me before because like your brain just listens to this music in a different way than mine does. To me, it all just sounds like, if I had to put it in a visual, it feels like one line. But my perspective of your experience with it feels like it's multi-layered because you're trained and you're educated in the musical arts. So it just feels like your brain consumes it in a different way. But you have mentioned how they'll pull lyrics, and did you mention like chord stuff too?
Yeah, sometimes there are like some themes that kind of travel through from album to album. I was specifically thinking of Sundowning, which came out in 2019. The first song on that album, it's the first full album that they released. The first song on that album is The Night Does Not Belong to God. And that has a direct tie to the last song in Take Me Back to Eden, which is Euclid. That, the Whites of Your Eyes part.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Is in both.
Yeah.
And it sounds slightly different. It's in slightly different placement, but it is a connector. So the very first song on their first full album and the last song on their most recent album are like directly linked, which is just
their brains.
Clearly so intentional and like so well thought out.
Yeah. And that another thing I love about them is it feels like this has been planned for years.
Yeah.
From the way that they set up their music to the way that they promote it to the lore behind it, it all feels like almost decades of work.
Yeah, it feels so intentional and so like thoroughly planned and thought out.
And I've heard technical, like I'm not a musician who plays an instrument or anything, but I've heard that their drummer is just like, or all of them are just
real.
Their drummer is an alien, I think.
Unreal. And like Vessel, from what I understand, Vessel writes all the musical parts other than the drums as well. So he's just like insanely talented. Yeah. And then you have the like Espera, the backup singers, which are like just
oh my god, yeah,
on a whole other level. Like, ugh.
It's so beautiful, and I love the way that they blend them into the songs. Like, I forget what song I was listening to earlier, but they just had hints of them in the background, and it just if it wasn't there, I don't think the song would be as good as it is. But it's just like such a gentle nod to this. It almost feels ethereal, just like a light little nod, and it balances out. I think it is one of their heavier songs, so it's just I can't imagine having a brain that works at the level that Vessels does.
This is the kind of stuff that makes me think magic is real.
Yeah.
How?
And he probably does it so seamlessly. It's probably just second nature to him.
Yeah.
Which I admire. I love that. And that's when someone holds a talent like that and they allow it to just be part of them. I think that's when, like you said, magic happens. And when you lean into that, I think that crosses over from the energetic world into this physical world, meaning like he's leaned into this
Yeah.
and he wants this, so now they're getting the rewards for their efforts.
Yeah.
And it is all they deserve, all of it, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Thanks for having me on to talk about.
Oh my God.
I could talk about them for days.
I know, I was going to say, we'll probably have to do another episode either on all of their discography or another one of their albums. We are seeing them in September, so I wouldn't doubt if we revisit this just to talk about that experience itself.
We'll have to talk about the new album too.
Yeah, oh my God. There's so much. This is now a Sleep Token podcast.
Yep. I'm never leaving. You can't get rid of me.
If you made it this far into the episode, thank you so much for joining us. My friend is my first guest on the podcast, so it'll be fun to see how you guys like it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.